Hi, this is Tutor Nick P, and this is lesson 327. The lesson today is the difference between fatal, deadly, and lethal. This is one that's come up a number of times. Obviously, they all have something to do with death and people dying, but students will often ask, well, what's the difference between them? Because really, you look at the definition, it does seem quite similar. So let's take a look at the notes here so we can distinguish how to use each one and in which case one is more likely to be used than another. All right, so let's look at fatal. Fatal describes conditions, situations, or events that caused or could lead to one's death, such as accidents. Here, we often use fatal with accidents. Crashes, collisions, falls, etc. Okay. Fatal is often used with attack, like we might say a fatal attack, fatal injury, fatal blow, so that last strike that killed somebody, fatal wounds, fatal shot. Maybe, in the movie, maybe the guy got shot several times, but the one shot that was the fatal shot was the one that caused him to die. Yeah, I think like maybe with Kennedy, I think the shot right to his head was the fatal shot. Some of the other ones, maybe he could have survived them, but the one to his head was the one that finished him off. That would have been the fatal shot. Okay, let's go on. All right, let's look at deadly. Now, deadly means capable of killing, used with such words as poison, virus, threat, etc. Now, this is an important part of the note here. However, it does not need to refer to a specific death. So you might say that's a deadly poison, but you're not talking about somebody that specifically died from it. You mean that poison has the ability to cause somebody's death. Same thing with the virus when you're using it that way. A deadly threat is the same way. Maybe nothing really happened, but the threat is deadly. Could cause a lot of danger. Hopefully the threat will never become realized. Maybe nothing will ever happen, but it's a deadly threat. All right, now where say fatal is probably used with things that did happen and already caused someone to die or came very close to causing someone to die. Okay, let's go on. Lethal. Okay. Lethal is used for something that refers to an agent, especially like a chemical agent. Remember during Vietnam, they used Agent Orange. So, all right, there's a couple of things here. One, lethal feels like it is more intent on wanting to kill somebody. Where, fatal could be more like an accident. Another thing about lethal, we should look at this part here. Lethal is often used with a mixture of something. So an agent is a mixture of something. It is a mixture of chemicals. So we're more likely to use lethal with something like that. So lethal is used with something that refers to an agent or something created for the purpose of killing or executing someone, such as a lethal injection. This is probably one of the most common uses that we use with lethal. In the U.S. today, when someone is going to be put to death or sentenced to death, this is the most common way to kill them. They think this is the most painless. We don't really use the electric chair anymore, or I don't think any states do. And, they don't hang them, so this is the most common one. So here we got it for two ways. One, definitely intent to kill, and it is another mixture of chemicals to kill. So lethal is really the most suitable here. A lethal dose of medicine. All right, this is another one. It probably means that somebody was given too much medicine or more than their body could handle. Maybe if they had a lower dose, maybe it may not have killed them. Okay. So again, we also use it with medicine, with mixtures. Lethal cocktail. Yeah. This is one we hear a lot, in recent years, especially with a lot of celebrities. It can mean a number of things. Usually it was the mixture of, very often it is legal drugs, but sometimes, or they could be mixed with illegal drugs or alcohol, and it's the combination of taking them all at the same time that may have caused the death. This could, again, happen with celebrities. Celebrities often have different doctors that prescribe them different things, and one doctor may not know what the other doctor prescribed them. And, they put together, this is what could happen. All right. Let's go on. Lethal weapon. Well, this is a weapon specifically designed to kill someone, not necessarily just for protection, but, its job is to kill. So, etc. Let's go on. Lethal is often used with a mixture of something. We covered that already. They could kill. Okay, so a disease could either be fatal or deadly. Yeah, so there is some crossover, there is some overlap, although probably we're more likely to use fatal with someone that already got the disease and the disease is killing them off. And when we say deadly disease, we're probably, maybe nobody got the disease yet. We just mean that this disease has the ability of killing them. So it's more likely to be used that way. So even though you may use both words with disease, you may be using it from different perspectives, different points of view that you're looking at it from. All right, let's cover all these examples we have here. Example number 1. A fatal accident is only one in which someone dies. Yeah, at least one person has to die. It could be more than one person. It could be several people die. And luckily, most accidents, nobody dies, so that's just an accident. It's only fatal if at least one person dies. All right, number 2, that mountain climber lost his life from a fatal fall. So it's the fall itself that caused his death. So that's why we say a fatal fall. Again, this is not one where we would likely say deadly fall because we didn't know that was going to happen. Now, if we reverse the sentence around and you say falls from that mountain could be deadly, you might be able to use it that way, meaning that it has the ability to cause a death. But in most cases, probably, with one that already happened, somebody already fell, we'll probably use fatal because that's what caused that particular person to die. All right, let's look at number 3 here. That soldier survived the battle, but later died from a fatal wound. So I guess in this case, at the end of the battle, he was still alive, but he had this serious wound already, and maybe there was complications in which he did not survive. Maybe he died many hours later. Okay, let's look at number 4. That chess player made a fatal error, which cost him the game. All right, again, this is one where you can only use fatal. You don't say deadly error, or you don't say lethal error. And again, in this particular case, probably nobody died. He just lost the game. So you lose something. You did something wrong, and it cost you. It hurt you. Maybe it hurt you financially, hurt you in your personal life, but caused you to lose something. All right, let's look at number 5. A bite from that snake would contain deadly poison. Again, here you're just looking at it from the point that it has the possibility of killing someone. Maybe that snake did not bite anybody yet. You're not maybe talking about that specific one, but it has the potential to kill someone. All right, number 6. SARS has the potential to be a deadly virus. Yeah, to be honest, the majority of people who got SARS did not die. Some people did, unfortunately, so it has the potential to kill you. But again, that's the way we're looking at it from that perspective. Number 7, the fact that this country has nuclear weapons is a deadly threat. Now, again, maybe the nuclear weapons were never used. Maybe they never will be used, but it's a deadly threat. So again, fatal would probably be more likely if something was used and people did die, but deadly is talking more about the possibility of it happening. All right, number 8, that convict was put to death by a lethal injection. Again, this is probably our most common one with lethal. All right, number 9, they claimed Heath Ledger died from a lethal cocktail. Again, this is another one where I talked about the celebrities. I did look it up, and I think they said that it was actually mostly legal drugs that he was taking. But again, it was the combination. He wasn't supposed to be taking them all together, and somehow it caused him to die. Okay. All right, let's look. And the last one down here. Many claim the CIA has a lethal weapon that could shoot a dart into somebody to cause a heart attack. Yeah, I've seen old clips of this. I've seen them actually in front of Congress talking about it. And supposedly when the dart goes in, it dissolves and it doesn't leave any evidence. So it could just cause a heart attack as a way of, it's a way of assassinating somebody basically, or executing somebody that they want to disappear. But anyway, that we would use lethal in this sort of situation. Okay, anyway, I hope you got it. Again, I hope you could see more clearly when you're more likely to use one of these than the other. Okay, I hope hope it was informative. All right. Thank you for your time. Bye-bye.